Whiskey Uniform 7 November, the Western Washington Amateur Television Society will be using this repeater for about an hour, starting in about 3 minutes for our bi-weekly net, WW7N. Good evening. Is this repeater in use? Well, this is WW7N, Whiskey Uniform 7 November, listening at 147.08. Well, it's time for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society bi-weekly net, the WW7ATS that meets on this repeater for our audio link on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. And for the PL tone tonight, there is a slight change. If you're participating on our net tonight and you want to be heard by people who are coming in via echo link, you need to use the 103.5 PL tone. That's a little different than the usual PL tone. That's just so that the echo link people can hear what we're all saying. So far, Richard, K7ITX, Bob, K9PQ, Ron, KD7QKU, and I'm not sure, Jessica, are you out there tonight? KS7UHK. Television Society Net tonight. Or if you want to just check in and say hello, find out if your push-to-talk key still works, We welcome your check-in. Come now, please. Well, let's start at the top. My name is James, WW7ATS. I'll be net control for the roundtable tonight. Richard, K7ITX. Take it away.
Hi everybody. First of all, I want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. Wave or whatever. All right, great. Okay, thank you. And I see Lee just checked in. Can you hear me, Lee? Yeah, okay, good. So all right, thumbs up. All right, well, I actually have a couple of videos, so if you could just bear with me. I always have a little bit of trouble trying to figure it all out. So here we go. Stand by. Slides from Shelton, Washington, about I guess 3 weeks ago now, where we took first place with our Datsun 510, and as I explained last net, we still have a good engine. We thought it went sour on us, but no, it just turned out our loss in speed was the result of lack of a tailwind that we had the day before. So that explains that. And then, of course, yours truly. Get in on some of the glory. This is a view that I had in Shelton. This is not our group. These cars are the Trans Am series sports car, but I thought that was kind of a fun place to take a little video. I've got a kind of an interesting set of slides here. These slides are from Portland 2 weeks ago. It wasn't a vintage sports car event. It was just a amateur sports car event, and I really fell in love with this. Believe it or not, this is a kit car. It's a car that someone built himself. Oh, by the way, it was the fastest car in Portland that weekend. And as I show you a couple of slides, maybe you'll understand why. Got all the cool nuances that you would want in a prototype. And I don't know, I particularly like the cockpit. I mean, it's just, and then this view of the close-up view of the cockpit where you've got, I don't even know how a guy can drive his car anymore with all this stuff to pay attention to. Look at it, he's got 2 video screens, one in the front, or actually 3 screens. I'm sure one of them is totally devoted to telemetry. The other would be maybe a rear view. yeah, I'm sure it's a review with who's behind you. I don't know. It's just so anyway. That's my video extravaganza for this net today. K7ATS back to net control.
Thank you very much for those videos. That is, the last one in particular is a very interesting shot. For anyone who wants to see what we're talking about, you can go to your favorite search engine and just type in Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and you'll find our webpage, and we have a YouTube link on there where we're simulcasting this. And also there's some audio on that YouTube link too, but this audio channel here on the 2-meter repeater is probably better. So I see Lee has also joined us. Let's go ahead and stick with the original cast here. Bob, K9PQ, are you out there?
I am, man. Can I get a radio check, please?
You're full intelligible and fully quieting.
Okay, thanks, James. I guess somebody doubled with you, but thank you. Yeah, so this is my first time. This is actually my big news of the night. Today, they finally took the big multi-tarp tent off of my deck. So I actually was able to go out on my deck and see all the trees behind my place. And for some reason, I don't know what's happening. For some reason, maybe I'm just really backed up on YouTube. Oh, I am. Okay. I wasn't seeing myself, and so, but yeah, my YouTube was delayed. So yeah, that's why I'm able to be on the radio instead of trying to use Echolink or whatever other things I was trying to do before. And I'm back also using the I blanked the name. The Grandstream. I had to read it. So yeah, as you can see, it's been a little while. Last weekend was field day, and I will give an update on that next time around. So I'll send it back to you, James. K9PQ.
This is James, Net Control, WW7ATS. I look forward to hearing your update on field day. Let's go on. Oh, by the way, the 1.2 gigahertz picture coming off Cougar Mountain tonight is superb. Excellent picture tonight. And audio so far on the repeater, everyone's audio is coming through loud and clear. Ron, KD7QKU, are you there?
Okay, well, thank you very much, James, W7N. This is KD7QKU over in Tacoma. And I guess right off the top, I did have a chat with Jim Che before the net, and he won't be able to join us tonight, but sounded like he'd be here on Saturday. And Richard, in that picture of the cockpit, I'm really surprised that battery wasn't enclosed in a box. I would think that would be a rule, that battery would have to be enclosed in case of a collision. Wow. But anyway, that was something that I know. Beautiful car, oh my goodness sakes. What a beautiful car. Well, let's see, I felt kind of crummy the last 2 days. I'm not sure exactly why. I felt crummy today because my wife did a stir fry of Benny Ha-Ha or something like that. She bought in a package at the store, and must have been some spice in there that I wasn't used to, because it kind of kept me headed towards the bathroom for quite a while this morning. But anyway, I've just been kind of groggy the last 2 days. I'm like the cat. The cat, every month or so, but every month she goes through a period. Well, I think I'm the same way. I don't know. I go through these periods where it's just almost hard to think. So let's see. Oh, I did have a CAT scan on my lungs, as some of you may or may not know. The pulmonary doctor has been watching me for the last 5 years or so. They accidentally noticed that I had some spots. So I have these little spots in my lung. But it's been 2 years, and they recommend every 2 years, and so I had a scan the other day, and I got a call from the pulmonary doctor saying the scan looked just like it did 2 years ago. So she said we'll do it again in 2 years. So far so good. You never know about those things. I mean, they can explode, and God only knows what happens to you, or they can my fingers crossed, I guess. So far, so good. So let's see what else is going on. Not much. I still have the thing on my wrist. I've kept it on. I was using this wrist a lot more because it's my right hand, and I opened up the incision. I think they glued it together. The other left hand, I didn't do that, but the right hand I did. So I had to sort of tape it shut and put a stick on the back of my hand so I couldn't bend my wrist and wrap it up again. It's been like that now for 2 or 3 days, so I'm going to have to. Today was a week, so last time I taken everything off at the end of a week, but this time I'm going to have to let it go a couple more days, I think. So it'll kind of grow together before I start using my wrist again. So anyway, that's it. Back to net, KD7QKU.
Well, thank you for that. Let's go next to the rotation here. Jessica, KF7UHK. Take it away.
Hey, Jessica up here in Everett. Yesterday was my CDL test. Out of 62 possible points, you had to get at least 48. I got 60. For the speaking part, which is 11 pages of speech, you kind of had to know about everything on the bus, be able to walk around, point to where it should be, and talk about it, whether it's missing decimals or other keys and other things, and what kind of damage it could not have. So, and then it had 3 backing tests down between cones with a 40-foot bus, and then you had a driving test with the DOL inspector. Luckily, this is a third-party inspector, so he had like his own business who was inspecting us and was certified to do that. So you go out on the road, and this is all up in Bellingham, so I knew nothing about the roads up there, and so that was, of course, a challenge, but passed them all. And so now they've the company has reimbursed my $250 charge for taking a test, which is cash. And it was exciting. It took about an hour to go through everything and do the driving test and the backing test. And my coworker who was in the same position I was, he passed also, and I was kind of surprised because he, under pressure, that stage fright kind of thing, he kind of falls apart and scrambles things up. But he did a good job and made it through, so we're pretty darn happy about that. Now we'll start learning the routes that's going and driving all these different routes and finding out where they go and when their time points are, and how to curb the buses in certain places, and learn customer service before we actually get any actual driving customers around just yet. So we still have a lot more training to do, but now I have a CDL that's worth, I think, about 4 years worth before I have to renew it again, and that's pretty darn cool. So with that, I'm going to pass it back. KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Jessica, thank you very much for that. Big congratulations there. Let's go on to Lee, N7KC. Will be coming in via Echo Link, and if you want to hear him, you need to, if you want him to hear you, this is where the 103.5 PL tone is important. So Lee, N7KC, take it away.
Okay, very good. Did I make it in? Okay. Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. Well, let's see. Richard, pretty cool. Pretty nice motor car that guy put together. I thought that was pretty nice work. Yeah. And like Ron, I looked at that battery askance and I thought, whoa, you don't want that thing flying around in the cockpit there with you, you know. That's a deadly thing. You know, it looks like a lead acid too, you know, how heavy they are, and that was kind of a big one. Very good, and Ron, good on your arm, I guess. And then splitting yourself, sticking something, a stick in there. Something you learned in a survival course, I don't know. And Jessica, that's fun to hear about you getting your CDL. Congratulations, that's a good score. I'm surprised you didn't do better. Yeah, not bad. And I could not hear Bob on the first go-round, and I was particularly interested in how the field day went down there. I myself had a good field day. I sat down here just minutes before the thing started to try to decide my strategy. And by golly, I decided that I was going to go for a big point multiplier. So I operated on a battery, a Blue Top Optima, for the whole 24 hours. So I was QRP, emergency power, and that's a multiplier of 5, and each CW contact is 2 points. So I got 10 points for every CW contact. Oh boy, do they add up fast. So anyway, so that was fun, and then I copied the bulletin, I handled some traffic, and I got 100 points just for being emergency power. So I thought a pretty good weekend. I was surprised at how well everything worked. I was working stations up and down the East Coast. 5 watts, on 20 and 40. I loved it. I only got 4 contacts on 80 meters. Okay, this is N7KC. I'm Lee. I'm in Port Angeles. I'm going to send it back to James. Thank you, James.
N7KC, this is WW7ATS Net Control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society tonight. I see we're about 18 minutes after the hour, so when I'm Net Control, I always ask for anybody who's just listening out there, you can say hello to us, you can join the conversation, or if you just want to say hello, find out if that push-to-talk button still works, we would welcome your check-in for our net tonight. Anyone, either on the 2-meter repeater, 147.08, preferably with a 103.5 PL tone, but whatever PL tone you've got, we'll take it. Or if you want to come in on Echo Link, please do so at this time. Well, I'm James, WU7N. Once again, congratulations to Jessica. That is fantastic. Of course, this is human nature. We don't care about the 60 points you passed. We want to know what 2 points you lost. That's just the way it is, isn't it? When I worked in government service, I was told by my boss that it doesn't matter how many kudos and medals you get, you screw up one big one and those all get erased and you start all over again. Anyway, Richard, K7ITX, thank you very much for those pictures. The last one was very interesting. Yes, I was wondering about that too. What happens during a rollover to that lead battery banging around in there? It kind of reminds me of the first multi-dimensional view I saw of the famous Spitfire aircraft. If you look at that in your pilot, the first thing you notice is there was a giant fuel tank right in front of you, about a foot away from your knees. I don't like that. Whether someone's trying to kill me or not, I wouldn't like that. Ron, glad you're feeling better. Glad your lungs are holding up. My goodness, I'd be afraid to x-ray my lungs at this point. And there's probably like little bugs making obscene gestures or something at the x-ray machine at this point. But glad to hear that they're all happy and you're all coexisting. And Lee, heard you great on Echo Link tonight. Glad to hear that you were able to do so well with a points multiplier. I didn't do field day. I was not feeling well for much of the field day, so I just decided I would sit this one out this year, which is unusual for me, but I will remember that. I guess I have a year to try and get confident enough with Morse code to do that, because that is quite a multiplier, especially if you added the batteries to it. So anyway, that's very interesting information. Up to the top, Richard K7ITX, you're up.
Jessica, congratulations, that's fantastic. Oh my God. It seemed like it's like a duck takes the water, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I never heard of any difficulties or anything, but yeah, no, we're going to have to figure out where you screwed up, though. I mean, that's all anyone cares about, of course. And that's usually, that's business, too. I mean, I did a lot of great things over the course of my career, but there's a couple things that just keep me awake even to this very night. Probably the one that bugs me the most is actually Birch Building, the Amazon building. I had two horrible mistakes on that thing that I can only attribute to my, I don't know, I mean, you had a lot to have to pay attention to. You know, you got thousands of variables. Maybe Bert wouldn't like to know that I missed some structural earthquake clips on the big curtain wall windows. But he doesn't have to worry. We actually went back, removed a lot of glass, and so we could, and take things apart so we could install the clips that I missed. It was awful mistake. So I'm just glad. Well, you know how we discovered it. It looks really good when you do the metal on a lot of these major projects, but when you put in the glass, glass weighs so much. So we put in the glass, and we wondered why things were starting to bend and sag a little bit, and I went, oh no. God, there was another horrible mistake on Bert's job. I was sure, and I was convinced that most of the job was going to require some concrete embeds on the face edge of the floor slabs. Wrong. It wasn't post-tension with the cables in the concrete. It was actual steel pan forms, which there's no room or there's no way I could put in any kind of concrete embeds with all the steel in the way. So that was, it worked out okay, and it didn't cost us any money to speak of. Waste of money. Paul Allen and his poor people didn't realize, or my general contractor didn't realize that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, maybe $100, not quite up to $100, but a lot of money on bin beds was wasted, and they just went into an inventory to be used I don't know when. So Jessica, don't feel bad. I'm sure your 2 points aren't anywhere close to those two problems I just described. K7ATS, back to net control.
Thank you, Richard. So next up on our list here, Bob, K9PQ. Are you still there, Bob?
Indeed. Although I'm looking at YouTube and it looks black, so hopefully that's just another delay. We'll wait and see what happens. So field day, I just worked the phone station, no special multipliers. We were 2 alpha, and we got nothing on 10 or 15. They were dead and noisy, and so we were on 20, 40, and 80. We did pretty well on 80 through the night. And I did bring my portable hex beam, my foldable hex beam up there, and that's what we used for the, well, it would have been 10, 15, and 20, but ended up being only 20. But that was our main for the voice station throughout the day. And it was good. It was, things have changed a little bit, as I'm sure you all know, or nearly all of you know. Mark passed away that led ACS and was really the driving force behind a lot of this. So we had different people in charge, and a few things changed. We have a very nice thing that they are doing. Rather than just making it very field day focused and contest focused, there were booths out there from different organizations, and there was very well scheduled and orchestrated talks that were given for teaching. I didn't actually attend any of them because I was operating and doing other things, but I saw over in on. It was going on just about all the time, and people loved it. So yeah, it's some good stuff. Some good stuff going on there at Field Day. And speaking of your piddly little battery and fuel tanks and all of these things that you say are dangerous, I got a chance to tour an active duty hunter-killer submarine, and they had an excess of people, so they didn't have bunks for everybody, so they put up temporary cots forward where all the torpedoes were just out in the open stored. So that's what they got to sleep next to. Okay, with that I'll send it back. K9B.
It reminds me of a physicist who was drilling in RDX with dental drills, and what he was doing is they were x-raying the explosives, and then when they would find little bubbles, he would use a dental drill to go in, find a little bubble, and fill it up, because the RDX had to be perfectly, absolutely have no voids in it at all. And someone said, aren't you concerned, like if the drill gets too hot or something goes wrong, that it would go off? And he goes, I would never feel it. On that note, let's go to Ron, KD7QKU, and Wade, I see you joined us, W7ITL. I'll put you in the rotation. Thank you for joining us tonight. Go ahead, Ron, take it away.
Very much, James, W7N, KD7QKU here. Well, let's see, I was thinking about Lee and his field day, and yeah, congratulations to Jessica. I think that you did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about your experiences as you get on the road. Lee, I was wondering if you were able to charge your battery, and if so, how you charged it while you were on the air. So he's shaking his head no, which maybe means he couldn't charge it. I don't know. So anyway, maybe I told you this story, and maybe I haven't. We have a 2019 Jeep Cherokee, and about a year ago or so, I ran it through the Brown Bear car wash in Bellevue, and it almost turned into a disaster. When I got to the end, the engine has died, and I couldn't get it out of neutral, and I didn't know what to do. But anyway, I was in panic mode, which doesn't happen too often, but it sure did that day, because it was totally unexpected. Well, anyway, I did get the car started somehow, and I did get it out of the way. So I decided to take it over and wash it again yesterday. Over here at the Brown Bear car wash, it had been a long time, it's filthy dirty, so I go over there. Well, before I went over there, there's a little switch on the dash that you push, so the engine doesn't die every time you come to a stoplight. Otherwise, the engine dies every time you come to a stoplight. And then when you let off the brake, the engine restarts. And I just hate that. So there's this little button you have to push. I put the little button in the driveway, and I put the car in neutral. And I let it run for a while. Everything seems fine. So I go over to the car wash, and I said to the lady, I had a disaster the last time I washed this car. I kind of told her what happened. Oh my goodness, she said, all these new cars is just terrible. They've caused us more trouble than you can imagine. She said, what you have to do is you put it in neutral, and then, with that button pushed. But, she said, when you go to take it out of neutral, it won't come out of neutral. You have to step on the brake pedal again in order to get it to come out of neutral. So, she said, that's the key. That's what you have to do. So I said, okay. So I went through the car wash and come to the end, and it wouldn't come out of neutral, of course. So I just lightly touched the brake pedal, and it came right out. Put it in drive, and down the road I went. So I avoided a disaster. But she said, we'll leave room behind you just in case. So they left a space open behind me. But I guess I'm not the only one, and I guess it's not the only car that kind of has that problem. So it's amazing, these new cars, what they do. All right, I guess that's it for now. So back to Ned. This is KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you, Ron. Next on the list, on the roundtable here, is Jessica, KS7UHJ. Take it away, Jessica.
my truck, my Ford F-150 is just like that also. If you don't have your foot on the brake, you can't do things like change gears, and I also have the auto start issue thing. And every now and then, if I want to get out in front at a stoplight, I'll hit that thing and turn it off because I want to get out faster. Because otherwise, you have to let it turn on. It always turns on real nicely, but yeah, I can understand how that'd be just not quite feeling right after a car wash. You think you should just drive right out. And I've been racking my brain what the 2 points were that I did not get for that test. One was I didn't do the lift demo, and they told us we didn't have to do a lift demo. We certainly talk about the lift and talk about that it's not missing any parts, it's not leaking, and that it operates properly, and how you operate the lift. I mean, you go through all the procedures to make the lift work. But I did not demonstrate it, and the guy said, well, you didn't demonstrate the lift, and I told him, well, we were told we didn't have to, and our trainer also told the inspector guy that we were told we didn't have to. So that might have been a point. And otherwise, and also when I talked about the rear tires that they have to be at least 2/32 of an inch for the major treads on the grooves. I didn't mention that. I did say they had to be 2/32 of an inch, and I might have supposed to say at least 2/32, and that might have been a point from what I racked my brains about. Otherwise, I don't really know. And he didn't tell me. I didn't ask because I passed, and I was good with that. I was good at passing and walking away and saying, I'm good with that. Let's see. I think the battery at least should be strapped down for all those babies who are worried about batteries and battery acid, you babies out there. Like, come on, what's a little battery acid here and there? And lastly, that was all it was. This is KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, this is WW7ATS Net Control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Next up on the list, Lee, N7KC, coming in via Echo Link. Take it away, Lee.
Okay, very good. My buttons are grayed out there until there's a settling period of some kind. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Yes, Jessica, you're going to stew about that for a long time. I think you should have hired a videographer to have captured your exam on video, and then you'd had something to cherish for years, right? And you could have shown us the boot. And Ron, the battery did just fine. I could have had a solar panel on it that charged it, but I couldn't have any kind of charger attached to the mains, right? So I just didn't do that. And I put my triplet fancy BLM on it, which I bought when I was in the Navy. I've had it for, my goodness sakes, 60 years. Wonderful instrument. Still works great. Talk bands, very nice. 630 NA is what it is. Cost me about $90 when I was in the Navy, but I wanted my own VOM. You could not. They had a pool of old VOMs, they called them Simpsons, 4As. And they had a pool of them, and people would just check them out. And you never knew if they'd been dropped or anything about them. So I bought my own and had it in a leather case. It had a nice rubber lining, a beautiful instrument, still is. Anyway, the battery never went to 12 volts even. It was always above that. My receiver only drew, it was about 1.25 ampere on receive. So the battery at 55 ampere hours could run 36 hours ostensibly. And anytime I was away from the radio, I shut it off. So I had to take a couple of naps throughout the field day. I couldn't do the whole 24 hours by myself. So I had to take some breaks. And so I shut everything down and all that. And it went just fine. And I never believed that I would be working in New Hampshire and Vermont, North Carolina, South Florida. It's just amazing. And 5 watts. And I thought 20 meters was pretty good. A little noisy at times, but thought I had time, got to quit in 7KC, Lee, Port Angeles. Back to you, James.
KC, thank you for that. Wade, W7ITL, what's going on in your world? Tell us about it. WU7N.
James, I normally don't come this soon. I usually come after Richard, so I wasn't prepared. Let's see, did field day. Saw Bob out there and helped wreck the big antenna he brought out. It was real fun. First time in person. I worked VHF, UHF, and 40 meters. Little to none VHF, UHF contacts I was able to make. But it was still fun, and at night I was able to do lots of 40 meter, and did that all phone, single sideband, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, real hot, but I wore a hat and stayed undercover not to get burnt. Brought my tent out there, even brought a whole station, but I found out I couldn't run my own station, so I was kind of bummed I couldn't run my own equipment. But they let me use one of my radios in the VHF station, so that was cool. Let's see, today, just finish up lots of meetings, man. It's been meeting week for me. I had almost an hour and 20-minute meeting with the Boy Scout troop to kind of go over the summer camp activities and things that you need to make sure your son brings and all that. Yeah, I'm pooped. I'm probably gonna call this round. This is the end. So nice to see everybody again. All right, well, I'll turn it back to Nat. W7ITL, back to Nat.
Wade, well, thank you very much for your support of the Boy Scouts. I hope that works out well for your son. And thank you for checking into that tonight, even if you're tired there. Let's see. The engine dying in a car wash. Ron, all I can say is you need to have a dash cam for that, because you could have a YouTube video. Who knows, you could make enough to buy a new car, if it really turns into a really good YouTube video. Anyway, that's one thought I had. Condolences there on March. I'm sorry to hear that, but I am glad that it sounds like, as always, Seattle's on the cutting edge here, because I know people have been saying for years maybe field day should become something a little more before everybody starts operating. It sounds like they've certainly taken the lead on that with classes. I'm glad to hear that that's going down. Your comment on variables rings back in my mind a magic moment at a meeting where I was going through a software review with someone, and I don't remember who it was, but she made this gem of a comment. She goes, "Wow, there's lots of variables," and I go, "Yeah, that's why you use a computer to track the variables." And she goes, "Well, why don't you just track the ones that matter?" Kind of echoed in my head, yeah, you should just track the variables that matter. It's kind of like Will Rogers said, when you buy a stock, it goes up and then you sell it. And if it doesn't go up, don't buy it. But yeah, just track those variables that matter, Richard, and that way you won't get so confused or, overwhelmed with the information. I see it's 41 minutes after the hour. Let me ask one more time if there's anyone else who'd like to say hello to us tonight. Maybe not part of the normal group, but we are interested in hearing from you. So we're on the 2-meter repeater, 147.08 with either PL tone, although we will only hear you if you use 103.5. And also you could say hi to us on Echolink. Look for Kilo 7 Quebec Juliet-Romeo. If you'd like to check in, say hello, or join the conversation, either one. Come now. This is James, WW7ATS for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. We got about 15 minutes left. I thought I would tell you about something I got on the ever-helpful folks at Amazon, and I don't know if that's going to show up or not. Let me see if that does. Looks like it does. This is something that would help you for next field day or for battery monitoring. That's what this device is. It's a little battery monitor. You see there's 3 wires, a black, a red, and a yellow. And if you're above, I think it's about 3 volts, you can tie I think it's the red and yellow together and use that for your sensor wire for the sense voltage, and then black, of course, is ground. And they say that if your voltage that you're measuring is less than 3 volts, then you can break those 2 wires out and power separately the black and the red with like a 9-volt battery or some such, and then use the yellow referencing to the same ground as the black, of course, as your measurement. There's only 2 things I've kind of found. I mean, I purchased 5 of these for less than I could buy 1 LED display. Changing world economy we live in. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the one minor weak point is the wires are pretty heavy insulated wires, but the actual gauge of the wire is pretty small, and I can see that if the wires bent back and forth, that might create a problem. So the ones I put into service, I decided to mount them inside an empty pill bottle. So that will work, but I think I'll put a big blob of some kind of adhesive over those 3 wires, even if it's mounted inside a pill bottle, to keep those from bending off. But I'm just amazed. I got 5 of these for I think about $10, and with shipping and everything, I couldn't build it myself for that much. I got that I also couldn't build, it was also about $2, is a magic board that uses pulse width modulation to convert a higher DC voltage to a lower DC voltage, and this is really just magical because you lose very little power in heat, unlike if you use a Zener regulator or a linear regulator, which of course those can get pretty hot. The linear regulator, it depends how much voltage you're dropping and how much current you're pulling, but whatever that difference is, power is equal amps times volts. That can be quite a bit of heat that gets dumped out of the heatsink of the regulator. And these little magic boards that use pulse width modulation, they don't do that. They sense what the voltage is in, and then they pulse a coil capacitor network to keep the DC out constant. We got a pointer to that board from I think his name is Anderson's amateur television newsletter. He was saying he'd used those successfully. One comment I have seen about the little voltage board of the card here is if you're, for example, putting them right across the battery that's charging, one report says you can actually burn these little things out by suddenly having voltage appear and disappear off the sense and red wire combination. The way he says he solved that is he put a 100-ohm resistor in series with the sense wire, and then a small value 10-talent capacitor, which creates a little RC network, which would cause the voltage not to spike and drop instantly as you added it to and from, or as you presented in disconnected voltages. I also kind of wonder if when he pulled the battery out of the charger and put it back in, if he was not getting big spikes there, which I think you might do on some chargers and some battery combinations. Anyway, if anyone's more interested in that, email me and I'll send you more information. Back to the top, Richard, K7ATS. You're up next for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Take it away.
Great net tonight. Thanks for everyone's stories and participation. I've really been enjoying it. I'm up for after the net. I'm gonna want to, have a good night's sleep because moving forward, my schedule is packed all the way to the 4th of July, as far as I'm concerned. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, dentist appointment. Can't avoid it. It's been probably a little over a year since I've had the x-rays and exams. I've had the cleanings on schedule, but anyway, so 9 o'clock, dentist, but then 11 o'clock, at the Northridge Memory Care, Tacoma Lutheran in Tacoma, 11 o'clock, I have to go see my mother, K7ITY, and convince her to get her hair cut. And if even I can do better than that, and convince her to let the beautician wash her hair. God almighty, how did I get elected for this? I don't know how. So unfortunately, they have me as #1 contact. My sister's #2, and my brother's not. No, Debbie was #2, and my brother and sister weren't even on the list. So I straightened that out right away. So my sister's the first one they contact. My brother's #2, and I'm #3, and Debbie, who I is not on the list at all. Honest with you, I'm probably the only one that could go and talk to my mom tomorrow anyway. My sister's in Winthrop, Washington, and my brother, works full-time, and he's working at that time, and I'm not, and I'm available, and, oh my God, so I'm just trying to think of all kinds of stories or types of logical reasoning to get your hair cut. Ron, maybe you can come up with something. I know you've got all kinds of haircut stories, at least for yourself anyway. You always have a clever way of getting out of them, so maybe if you told me one of your reasons how you can get out of it, maybe I can put up an offense against it, because I'm sure to bet ITY is going to come up with some harebrained idea why she shouldn't get one. Anyway, it's not my idea. You gotta have them for just good hygiene. With that, 73 for now, K7I2X, back to net control. When it comes to haircut excuses or reasons, you're out of my zone. I guess I'm about ready due for another haircut here real soon myself. Bob, K9PQ, up there in the great north of Snohomish County. Are you there? Take it away.
Indeed here, and I've been a bit distracted this net and a little bit wiped out, but it's been a good net. It's good to hear you all. I'm looking at my notes, and I didn't even make any more notes, but I did want to say those were really cool car pictures. I love that one, the #3 car. Wow, what a special car that is. Just amazing, and yeah, the cockpit was really cool. But the one picture you had that kind of showed it, that showed the whole rear with that. It was hard to tell. You'll have to make out the details, but obviously where the engine and transmission was and all of that was just amazing. I would love to have got to see that in person. So yeah, that is cool stuff, and it's very cool you can be involved with that. And I'm glad Wade mentioned that he was there field day. Yeah, it was good to see him out there. It was good to see some familiar faces and some new faces. As I say, it's changing a bit, but there's quite a few familiar faces still out there as well, and so it's kind of a good way to get myself back in the groove with ACS and PSRG again too. So Monday nights I'll be getting back active. In fact, probably this coming Monday, assuming that they don't close off my deck again for some reason, which I don't expect them to do. So it'll be nice to get more active again, just in general with my different ham radio nets and exercises. So with that, I will send it back and say 73. I think this will probably be my last one. Have a good night all. K9PQ.
PQ, Bob, thank you very much for that. Next on the list, Ron, KD7QKU, take it away.
It comes around fast. KD7QKU here. just sitting here asleep at the switch. Yeah, Richard was talking about mother and haircuts. My wife wanted a haircut today. First thing this morning, she said, I want a haircut. Okay, so we get everything out. I had ordered from Amazon one of those little things that you put around, like the barber puts around you and snaps around your neck, so you don't get hair all over. And so that's kind of slick now. And we've been giving each other haircuts for 2 years now. But she had a lot of, I don't know, rules and regulations. I couldn't take anything off the front. So the last time I gave her a haircut, I decided I hadn't taken anything off the front for a long time, and so I decided I'd take a little bit off. Well, my wife's hair is kind of curly. It's got natural curl in it, so you comb it down, you know, and then you clip it, let's say, and then when she messes with it, the curl takes over. Well, the little half inch I thought I'd taken off was way too much. So anyway, I don't cut her hair wet, I cut her hair dry, and her hair goes different directions on either side. So it's really hard to make it look the same on both sides when you look in the front or from the back. So she didn't want me to touch the front, didn't want me to touch the sides. She only wanted me to take some off the back. So I taken some off the back, and she's the whole time she's saying, no, stop, you're taking too much off. I can tell. It's like, I haven't taken anything off yet. So anyway, that's kind of the way our haircuts go. But, yeah, it worked out pretty good. She went and looked in the mirror, and she said, oh no, that's just fine, I like it, so don't do anything else. So we cleaned up the mess and quit while I was ahead. So I did take about half an inch or something off the back, and I just used the clippers. I'm not a scissor person. I don't dare hold the hair up with the comb and then cut it with the scissors. God only knows what'll happen when it snaps back into place. Because like I say, she's got waves and curls, and each side is different. It's bizarre, but she's had really nice hair. She hardly ever had to have permanent, I guess ladies call it, or anything. She just always had this natural curl, and it just worked out fine. So anyway, I gave her a haircut. So back to that KD7QKU.
Thank you very much. And wow, someone said to me, if love is a battlefield, then marriage is the Cold War. So I don't know. Jessica, KF7UHK, take it away.
When I was still doing that Halcon job, one of the last jobs I did for them, they called me at 2 or 3 in the morning, and my hair felt like it was just falling in my face too much. It was just bugging me because I had to go run down the street and go get one of their vans and go run out and move some trained people around. And so I pulled my hair down and whacked off way too much. And later on, Sylvia said to me, "Did you cut your own hair?" I said, "Yeah." So it's finally going back to something that doesn't look just awful, disaster-like. So I just want to tell you, I did that, and I probably won't do it again. And now I'm waiting for it to get long enough so I can go to a hairstylist and they won't say, "What did you do to yourself?" Because that's always embarrassing too. So I'll just wait till it gets long enough so I can, kind of cover up my disasters. Behind me there you'll see this is a Navy. It's a 35 and a half foot bus is what we're driving today. Navy is something Bus Institute, National American Bus Institute or something like that, NABI. And it was a nice bus to ride. It had a giant steering wheel. Just felt like it was like way out of place, but it turns nicely and turns easier than the 40-foot buses. And so going around tight corners, it was much easier to navigate. We'll be going to along the Burlington Boulevard tomorrow. We did that a little bit today. It's a fairly busy street with lots of railroad tracks across and lots of people coming and going and lots of left-hand turns. And then we'll be going out to Anacortes and doing a couple of routes out there to Anacortes and back. And so that's what our big plan is for tomorrow's bus learning and route learning. much because there's one in downtown, and of course that comes around every 15 minutes or so. And they said you go out there, you work 11 hours, and you've gone around the thing about 30 times. And they said that can be kind of routine, a little boring. Some people like the longer routes, like the 300 we were on. It's an hour each way, an hour out, an hour back. So we'll see how that goes. This is KSM, UHK.
And I'm going to have to get up there just to ride your bus when you tell me what route you're on. I want to see what it's like. Lee, N7KC, say hello to us on Echo Link here, and it looks like you're going to kind of wrap up the net. I'll come back after you're done.
Okay, very good. Lee, N7KC. Okay, very good. Well, Richard, here's how you handle that problem. On your way to your mom's place, go by the garden store and get yourself a bag of ladybugs. Something like that. Some little critters. And then what you do, just speak 2 or 3 of them in your hand, and say, Mom, for Pete's sake, you got ladybugs. Only one way to get rid of them. Haircut, or hair wash. Get washed. Anyway, it's been a fun net. I've enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody. And so 7-3 from N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, let me open it up one last time for anyone who'd like to say hello to us for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Our net meets 8 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday and on Saturday, and we certainly appreciate the owners and operators of the 147 decibel 080 repeater for letting us use that 2-meter repeater for our audio channel. You can also see us, as I mentioned, on YouTube. And to close it out here, I'm going to show you the international language for a little voltage regulator board. Do you know which way the current is supposed to flow when you see that right there? Is that clear enough to you? I thought that was really cute. The other side of the board, of course, has the magic chip and several supporting components on there. They have the same design philosophy as I do. You can't go wrong with a big capacitor on the input and the output, can you? Big arrow was kind of an interesting idea there. So that's it for me, James, WW7N. Once again, thank you, everyone. I'm going to return the repeater to normal service. I'll say to everyone, good night. 7 Hotel Yankee Bravo. Hello, say hi. Little late. Oh, Gary, we're on the Cougar Mountain machine tonight, and you really have to push the mic button and give it some time. But go ahead and say hello again to the gang. I think a few people still might be on. Okay, well, maybe that'll do it. Anyway, just thought I'd jump in and say hello. I'm running away tonight. Really liked it. So you guys have a good one. K7HYB. K7HYB, this is WU7N. Thank you very much for saying hi to us tonight.